Hi everybody, I'm Sergio with Mobility Direct, and today we have two of the top selling folding mobility scooters on the market today in 2022. To my left, I have the very popular top selling Transformer mobility scooter known as the Solax Transformer. Some people refer to it as just the Transformer. They're all the same. They are imported exclusively through Enhanced Mobility, and we are the top retailer here in South Florida and online for this model. You can ask for it, ask any questions. We have non-commissioned sales experts ready to answer your question. But today, we're going to do a video that really gets into the nitty-gritty details of both these models. So we have the Transformer here, which is, again, the top-selling auto folding scooter for the last 3 years in running. They've made several updates, including the ability to fold and unfold it manually if your battery dies, and a couple of other features. So you may have an older model that looks a little bit different, but we're going to talk about the new models. So on the right, we have the EV Rider Transport Auto Fold. This has the four-wheel setup with the traditional space in between the two front wheels. There's another model that automatically folds, and it has the two front wheels really close together. That's a different model. This is the four-wheel. This is the newest one. It's more stable, and it's very, very comfortable. Again, it's an auto folder. Now let's go ahead and see between the two how fast they fold up, because that's a common question, and I want to address that first to see which one folds up faster. They both work with a key fob. I've got them both here in my hand, and we're going to go ahead and do the test at the same time. So I'm going to hit the fold button at the same time on both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and give the transport power. There's a power switch on the right, which we keep off to make sure that the battery doesn't drain. That's a really common way to drain your battery and damage your battery. So we keep the switch on the right-hand side of the scooter in the off position. And for the Transformer, we usually take the battery pack out when it's not being used to also preserve the battery life. So now they're both powered on, we're going to go ahead and get started. So you may notice that the scooter on your left, my right, the Transport Auto Fold, does not stop halfway through. The Transformer does stop halfway through, and that is a safety feature. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the rest of the unfolding process. They both fold pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and unfold them. So you may have noticed that this one takes a bit longer to start, but this one actually folds and unfolds faster. However, this one stops halfway through. So I think the Transformer folds a little bit faster. Even with that break in the middle, this unfolded completely before this one did. So in terms of the folding and the unfolding feature, the Transformer does a little bit quicker. However, you do have to bear with that little safety feature where it stops halfway. All right, so we know which one folds a little bit faster. Let's talk about the actual specifications. Another thing that we want to point out in this video is the weight difference. The Transformer weighs approximately 53 pounds with the battery installed. The battery weighs about 4 pounds. The Transport weighs 51.8 pounds. So there's really just a 1.2 pound difference in the overall weight between the Transformer and the Transport Auto Fold four-wheel. Now, there's a couple of reasons why the Transformer weighs a little bit more. It actually has a more powerful motor. It could travel longer. The incline rating on this is actually the best in its class out of all folding mobility scooters. It can handle up to a 15-degree incline. The Transport can only handle about a 4-degree incline. And it's not really best used on grass. It's really only meant to be used on pavement. We're going to do a grass test next. But in general, I would say the Transport's not meant for steep inclines unless you're going up a typical ADA access ramp in a commercial plaza or in a grocery store parking lot, things like that. the transformer can actually handle somewhat steep inclines. A commercial grade ramp to get into a store like ours in a commercial plaza it has about a 4.5 degree incline on the ramp. So this can handle up to 15 degrees, which is it's a little over triple that standard ramp incline rate. The transport, on the other hand, can really only handle typical ramps that get you in and out of a plaza to get up the curb, like what you would see at most crosswalks and things like that on the sidewalk. So that is a key differentiator here, folks. Not only that, the transport can only hold 250 pounds. The transformer can hold 300 pounds. Now, as far as the range, when the batteries are fully charged, the transformer outperforms the transport. It can get 13.7 miles. The transport can do 10 miles. Now, as far as the battery, they are both lithium batteries. On the transport, we have a 25.5 volt, 11.5 amp hour battery. Again, weighs about 4 pounds. And on the transformer, we have a 25.9 volt, 10 amp hour battery. And if you do the math, they are both just under the 300 watt hour maximum watt hour restriction that most airlines enforce. So that's very important to keep in mind. All right, so we've talked about the battery, the range. I think it's also a good idea to show you how to remove the batteries on each of these scooters, because for some customers, it could be troublesome to remove the battery. On this one, there's a little tab. You can use a key or a flathead screwdriver to get in that little slot there at the back of this plastic panel and just lift straight up. Once it's up, you'll see that inside there's a strap holding the battery in, and you just unstrap it, and there is a harness connector here for the battery, which you can kind of use to pick it up. Go ahead and remove the connectors. There's 2 connectors. And here's the battery. There's a fuse switch on it. There is a battery management system. So it is a good quality lithium battery. And again, it weighs about 4 pounds. We can measure it just in case, because in some cases, airlines will ask you to package this up in a bag, not actually have it on the scooter. So we've got about 8 inches long and about 3 3/4 inches wide, and then the height is about just shy of 3 inches. So, gonna go ahead and reconnect it now. Make sure to get the strap out of the way before I drop it in. Gonna connect the black and the blue connector, just the way it was before. And I believe the blue was facing outwards this way, so I want to make sure I put it in the same way. Tuck those cables down under and re-strap it in so it's not shaking around or anything like that while we're riding the scooter. At this point, you can take the cover, put the front part in first, press down. Now on the transformer, it's a lot easier. There's a little strap and you pull out. Nothing to it. So the battery again weighs 4 pounds. The dimensions on this one are a little bit more friendly for a bag. 8 inches long. We've got 6 inches wide and about 1.5 inches tall. So the battery is a lot more compact. Now, speaking of being compact, I want to talk about the different measurements that are important to consider depending on your height and your weight. For me, I'm 5'11", about 210 pounds. I don't think that a 6-foot person or someone taller is going to feel very comfortable because I'm already kind of seeing that my knees are bent and sloped at a downward angle towards my hips. And if I were taller, I'd probably have longer legs and it'd be even worse. Now, the transformer kind of feels almost similar. And if we measure the distance from the ground to the top of the seat, we're at 22 inches on the transformer. Now, if I move back to the transport and we measure from the seat to the ground, we're at about 21 inches. So about an inch difference, which actually does make a difference if you're right on that cusp of being almost 6 foot like me. Now, as far as foot space, I do want to point out that the transformer has from the seat where your legs come out over the seat and bend down, we're right here, to the front part is about 18.5 inches. And you can put your feet here or here. Now, on the transport, if we measure, we have about 16 inches. So, in terms of foot space and seat to ground height, I think the transformer is a better option for someone that's a little bit taller. And it can also hold 300 pounds, whereas the transport can hold 250, and the floor space is a little more limited. All right, so something to consider, because there's more foot space, it's got a longer foot space area. The dimensions I want to talk about are a little bit bigger on the transformer compared to the transport. So what we have here as far as the dimensions on the transformer, for the overall length, we're at 36.9 inches, whereas on the transport, it's 33.5 inches. The overall width on the transformer is 18.1 inches. The overall width on the transport is 18.3. So they're just about the same width, but not the same length. The transformer has a little bit more on the length. Now, if we fold the two units, the dimensions change, obviously, and that's what we're going to do now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fold them, and we'll go ahead and remeasure afterwards. All right, so as you can see, there's a clear difference in the way it folds. The handlebars do go down, by the way. You can adjust the height of the handlebar on both of them. But one of them, you have to kind of lift it up to wheel it around. The other one folds in the upright position, ready to go. So those are two differences in the folding. Also, you'll notice that the transformer has armrests, which are removable. The transport does not. It's not an option to have armrests on the transport. Now, we know that the length is obviously going to change, and I'm going to measure the dimensions of these scooters in the folded position. We have approximately 18.5 inches from front to back in the folded position on the transformer, and approximately 17.5 inches in length on the transport. Pretty comparable. And again, the height is adjustable for the handlebar. However, even at the lowest setting, you can see clearly that the transport is going to take up more room height-wise. We're at about 32 inches. And on the transformer, we're at about 26.5 inches. So this one is going to take up more space when you're transporting it. However, this one has more floorboard. So there are some things to consider with respect to the size. Again, this is going to have more power. It's going to hold more weight, 300-pound capacity. It's going to travel further. It's going to be more comfortable. I would like to point out that the seats are pretty different. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and unfold them, keeping in mind that with this one, the transport, you do have to kind of lay it back down when you're getting ready to fold. When you're getting ready to unfold it. The transformer's fine, good to go. You don't have to worry about tilting it over or anything like that. So we wanted to mention that the seats are very different. On the Transport AutoFold 4-wheel, there's a very low backrest. It's not tall at all. In fact, I'm going to take out the measuring tape and show you. The backrest is only about 9.5 inches. The seat measures out to about 15 inches wide, and the depth is about 13 inches. As you can see, the seat padding is somewhat limited, and that's so that they can reduce the weight. On all folding scooters, they reduce the size of everything, which makes repairs a little bit more difficult because everything is so compact and hard to reach. However, on the Transformer, you have a much bigger seat. It's, in my opinion, a lot more comfortable, more padded. You get 17 inches on the width and about 15 inches on the depth. The back height is basically 13.5 inches. So all in all, the seat on the Transformer is going to be a lot more comfortable. With that being said, I do want to mention some of the drawbacks for each model. The steering wheel does get loose. Haven't had that complaint on the Transport yet. It is a brand new model. We will let you know in the comments. And we encourage you to leave your feedback about each model if you own these products in the comments section below. Something else I want to mention, the Transformer has the option to adjust the tilt on the tiller handlebar assembly. The Transport does not. You cannot adjust the tilting angle of the tiller handlebar assembly. Aside from that, they both have what's known as a single-handed use tiller, so you can go forward or backwards with just one finger using one hand. Same thing with the Transformer, you can go backwards and forward. Now on the Transformer, it has a reverse beeper. We deactivated the reverse beeper on this one because a lot of customers despise the reverse beeper. It's really loud and it can be annoying. You can disable the reverse beeper. We did that on the Transformer. It does take a little bit of hardware, unscrewing screws and disconnecting a connector, but you can disable the reverse beeper. The Transport does not have a reverse beeper, so you don't have to worry about that if reverse beepers annoy you. Now, something that I pointed out in the beginning, and it's very important to mention it again, if your battery dies on either of these models while it's folded, it can be an issue, but if you have a Transformer 2021 or 2022 edition, it's not. When the Transformer is folded and the battery dies, there's actually a solution. You can unfold it manually or fold it manually. There's really no issue with doing so. There's a red lever, and once it's fully folded, I'm going to show you how to disengage the automatic folding motor in case your battery dies. So if your battery's dead right now and you have an older model, you're in trouble. With the newer model, you're going to see this red lever. And all you have to do is pull that red lever forward, and as you can see, the automatic motor is now disengaged, and I can literally unfold it manually. I can also fold it manually by using that red lever, which again, that is a feature in the 2021 and 2022 post-22 models will also have that feature. And basically, it's a key feature because when you have a dead battery, and it might happen sooner than later, you don't have to worry. On the Transport, that's not the case. So with the Transport, you're going to have to do a little bit of work to get that unfolded or folded if the battery is dead. Not a lot of work, but work. Other than that, I think it's time we take both of these scooters on a ride. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the turning ability of this scooter. I've got the steering wheel completely turned, and as you can see, I'm able to do a full circle in our showroom. The scooter has a 55-inch turning radius, and it's pretty maneuverable, but you may have to do some 3-point turns if you're going to the theme parks in Orlando, Florida, and you're waiting in line to get to the ride, it's not going to be as good as a three-wheel scooter, but it's got a 55-inch turning radius, and that's not bad. So I'm going to take the camera from our cameraman Chuck here and show you first-person perspective what it's like to ride this scooter, and we're going to go for a little ride outside of our shop. There's a little grass patch here that I'd like to take it to. All right, so something else I wanted to mention was that the 2022 models all come with rear suspension. So it is going to provide a little bit of comfort when going over bumpy roads and cracks on the sidewalk. I do want to show you that my feet here have plenty of space, as we talked about earlier. I have the ability to put my feet even on resting over the top a little bit in the front. So with our cameraman Chuck holding the camera from further away to give you a different angle. Not bad. All right, so as you noticed, it did handle the grass not too bad, not too great. Again, this scooter can handle it, in my opinion, better than the Transport can, and we're gonna demo that next. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing with the Transport. Gonna put my feet up here. I can't put them on the wheel wells because then it makes it really hard to turn. But the turning radius on this one is better. As you can see, it turns pretty sharply compared to the Transformer. So I'm going to go ahead and take the camera from my cameraman Chuck, and we're going to go on a ride. As you can see, it has the Delta Tiller, single-handed use. I do have to kind of keep my feet closer together, which I will point out is a little less comfortable. I can't really put my feet out to the side because that's kind of going to impede my ability to turn and make it more difficult to turn the handlebar. But overall, the floor space is a little bit more limited. So again, if you're 5'11", 6 foot, maybe not going to have as comfortable as a ride compared to a little bit faster. We'll throw the top mile/hour speed on the screen here. And overall, this scooter is very comfortable to ride on the pavement. Now, when it comes to the grass, I'm not sure how well it's going to handle, but we are going to go with some speed. And there you go. It just stopped. So it's not able to go. It's just not going on grass, period. Key differentiator there between the Transformer and the Transport. Unfortunately, the power of this motor is just not enough to move me on the grass. Now, I weigh 210 pounds, 205 on a good day, and it's just not enough. Now, we might find that with somebody who's 150 pounds and the grass is really compact, it could work, but realistically, this scooter is not meant and designed to go on grass for the average person. I think it's not best to use it on grass regardless, because what will end up happening is your battery will die much faster, the motor won't last as long, and you're just going to put a ton of stress on the machine to the point where you're not going to get much range out of it at all, even with a full battery. Rolling. Gonna have to manually get it off the grass. It is pretty light, so not a problem. And unfortunately, that concludes our grass test. I'm going to take hold of the camera here and grab the camera from my cameraman Chuck and just continue to ride it back into the shop so we can conclude our video with some final closing thoughts. Again, I think in general, if you are someone who's around 5'5" or shorter than 5'5", you're gonna be more comfortable on a scooter like this. But if you're taller than that, I think the Transformer is gonna be a more comfortable option for you. All right, so in conclusion, this scooter is probably better suited for someone that's under 250 pounds, 5'5" and below. It's gonna be a little lighter. This one's gonna have more power and more comfortable for someone taller than 5'5", and maybe if you're 200 to 250 pounds, it'll still be okay for you. There are some other things that we want to point out, such as the fact that the Transport has a lighting kit. The Transformer does not come with one, but you can upgrade it and get some accessories, which are like little chargeable lights that you can include onto it if you wanted to, so it's not a big deal. The option to get the front folding basket is an option for the Transformer, and you can also get a front storage bag for the front on the Transport. We don't have them here, but you can get them. And again, they are both great options. However, they both have their pros and their cons. We talked about the wiggling handlebar issue, which you can easily tighten. You just need to tighten a few bolts. Now on this one, we have noticed that the battery tends to not last as long, and it's a little bit more difficult to manage the battery's life, the shelf life, if you will, because if you don't turn that power switch off on the side, we've noticed that the scooter battery will drain and eventually stop working pretty quickly. Whereas on the Transformer, you just need to take the battery out, and when you're not using it, we just leave it like that, and the battery lasts a long time. So, all in all, we'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and leave any questions that you have in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to get notified when new videos come out just like this one. I'm Sergio with Mobility Direct. We do offer these products tax-free. Shipping is free right on our website, mobilitydirect.com. Don't forget to request a free catalog by clicking on the green button at the top of our website on every page that says free catalog. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.